Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 366 Days of Hope. My name is Pearl, and I'm here to share our next topic, which is what is the hardest client I have ever had to train? And I think I would say majority of trainers might agree with me on this. Obviously, everyone's experience is going to be flavored differently depending on the individual. But I would say probably the hardest client I've ever had to train were clients that were not teachable and were not willing to implement the things that we were trying to set up so that they could meet their goals. And then come to find out, they kind of complained at the end of their training that they weren't seeing any goals. But then when I asked them if they were implementing any of these things to be able to meet their goals, they either gave excuses or just refused to acknowledge that any of those things worked. And so I would say that's one of the hardest things. I think that when you are a trainer, it's very hard in this industry because it is results driven, that to not have some experience where, hey, my client's not really reaching their goals. But it really depends also on the type of goals that a client may be needing. So a client may feel like, oh, all I need is, this, but what they really need is this. So for a good example would be a person who has a poor relationship with food. They may need to deal with psychological things first before they're able to really work on the diet aspect of things. Meaning that there are so many people who have a poor relationship with food, like they binge eat, or they, might have bulimia roller coaster rides of like they'll binge on food, throw it up, or they either just binge on food, don't throw it up, but then they gain all this weight and then they feel bad and all of these things, right? So it's just the cycle. So breaking the cycle is probably more important for the trainer to try and help rather than really focusing on, say, the exercise. That might be the secondary thing, if I would say, for a trainer to focus on. I hope I'm making sense on that. But sometimes it's difficult when you have clients that have a lot of psychological issues and they're wanting to use fitness obviously to feel good. And it's not to say that it can't, because definitely I believe that fitness can heal. But if they have a poor relationship with food, it could also cause frustration, and it may take them a lot longer than what typically could be achieved in other people who have a much healthier relationship with food. Hopefully I'm making sense with that. But I would say that would be probably the most difficult client. Most trainers probably have had to deal with is just not having someone who really implements any of the things that they're being handed. And some trainers might have a clause in their contract with you that says that, hey, if you're not listening to any of the things that I'm saying, then I might just not work with you anymore. Some people are hardcore like that. I think it just depends on every individual personally. Like some clients you could be hardcore, but if you really know the type of clients that you have, you can really read into, okay, am I dealing with a psychological issue? Am I dealing with just a trauma issue that we need to kind of work through? So for example, I had a client that refused to do workouts on a bench because they were afraid of heights. Okay. Yes, that sounds crazy, but even doing bench press was really scary for them. So we would have them do it on the floor until they got comfortable, and they created a trust relationship with me that I wasn't going to push them off. And I know it's a wild idea to think like, why would your trainer push you off of a bench, right? But it took time to build that relationship and to get that person to trust me. Sometimes some of the things you might say may be taken wrong, and that's happened to me too. I actually had a situation where I didn't know this, that the client had some self-esteem issues, and I made the comment. I was like, yeah, we're burning the fat, I was like, way to go. And I was talking about her arms, and I guess that's the most insecure part of her. She ended up I guess, not wanting to work with me because she felt I was making fun of her, which I would never do. I've never ever made fun of any of my clients because I know how difficult it is to, one, get in front of someone else and say, hey, I want you to help me transform. That's a very vulnerable spot. And for someone to come to me, to trust me with their, personal health, really I take to heart. So it was such a grave miscommunication, but it was sad because I never ended up getting to talk with her before she spoke to, my superior to change their trainer, which was surprising to me. And I was like, I would never have ever thought that saying that would have offended somebody. Like, our goal was weight loss, so in my mind, that's what we're doing. We're burning the fat off. We're working through it. So I could see, maybe, like, if you're dealing with somebody who is very insecure or has low self-esteem, that can definitely affect them. But it's something that I had to learn as well as a trainer, like understanding how to curtail my language, and that some relationships with some clients wouldn't even have a second thought about it. Whereas in other clients that you're just getting to know, you may have to kind of feel it out a little bit and see. So that would be the most challenging things I think I've experienced in training. So overall, though, it's been wonderful, and I love my job and I love what I do. And with that said, guys, may you live, thrive, and be healthy. Take care. Bye.